The Running Warehouse Ballarat Marathon is back in April with flatter and faster courses, more entertainment and an expanded expo. The half marathon is now sold out and the full marathon is almost 90% sold. So sign up today at ballaratmarathon.com.au to lock in your place on the start line. Welcome to episode number 5 of the Road to Ballarat podcast series, brought to you by the Ballarat Marathon and Federation Uni. We're back for another week. We're going to be hearing Jason Rossi's recap of training from the last 2 weeks, which will bring him up to about 7, maybe 6.5 weeks to go until race day. We've also got one of the pacemakers joining us tonight, Steve McKenna from the One Running Pace team. He's going to be talking through all the details about the pacemakers who are going to be there to assist runners come race day. So that's going to be very exciting as well. Jason, welcome to you. You're joining me here first. How are you going?
Yeah, I'm good, Brady. How are you?
I'm good, thanks, mate. We're just talking off air that it's hot and we are probably both looking forward to a bit of cooler weather come the last weekend in April in Ballarat.
Yes, hope so. I do enjoy the heat, but it is, probably testing the limits now. A few more hot days ahead, and I think Sunday is looking all right for a bit of a cool change.
Yeah, I have looked ahead myself, and I've seen a couple of mornings with, 9, 10, 11 degrees, and I'm like, yeah, that's what we need. That's going to get us closer to what we're going to experience on race day. But everything's going well over there in Ballarat. Any different vibes around town that you can tell a marathon's getting closer to come to your streets?
There's just people everywhere still, and it's growing all the time. Lots of females, I've noticed around the lake particularly. They put lights around the lake, so I think that's the safest place to run. And we start around the lake probably 3 mornings a week. So I think the mix of female to male participants will be really interesting to see on the day. I reckon there'll be a lot of females come out, which is awesome, and such a positive thing I think for running the running sport, that it's really for anyone.
I think that is the actual trend that, if you look at some data from, I haven't looked at it for a couple of years, but a couple of years ago when we were looking at it in regards to some podcast content, if you look at the finishes at major marathons and major fun runs around the world, females usually kind of 55, 45%, the dominant gender of finishes across the line. That could be just heaps of men just might pull out from going out way too hard. But, generally, I think women finish races way more than men.
Personality trait there for sure, yep.
Yeah, we'll go with that anyway. Hey, how's training? The Strava bars look pretty good here.
It is. It's going really well. I whipped through a couple of weeks of it. But I think 2 really consistent weeks. Foot pain is really at a minimal. I don't know how it's getting better without me stopping running. Doing a bit of strength work, getting in the gym a little bit, which I've always enjoyed, but probably doing more concentrated stuff on the lower legs. And because I've taken all the hill work out as well, I think that's paying dividends.
It is funny how those little niggles, and there'll be a lot of runners kind of listening, how they kind of just disappear. You don't really make massive modifications, but you just kind of continue to string the training together, and all of a sudden you're like, oh yeah, I had that niggle 2 weeks ago that now's not even on my mind. Yeah.
Or you'll start a run and be like, oh, that pain's not there. And it's, it's really quite nice.
It is quite nice, isn't it? So when we spoke to you last, you just come off the long run where you learn a few lessons, I feel. Went out a bit too hot, and it was a hot temperature day, really had to struggle home and learn a lot about pacing. And I guess the confidence probably took a bit of a hit as well.
Yeah, it was all-time low. I think that's when I was questioning, all right, am I any better than last year? Where's this going? Yeah, and then thinking of the pain, I guess, of how was the marathon? Because I think I never went through childbirth, but that's what I'm equating it to, is I did a marathon. I remember it sucked, but then did I just forget about how painful it was and then go, I can do that quicker. So it'd be interesting going for the second time to see whether, the pain is still the same.
Well, the execution of the race very much depends on the level of pain.
Yeah.
So and yeah, I've been in both. Not many times I executed well, so I know the pain you're talking about. But when you get it right, there is no pain. It's just fun.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Well,
hopefully
hopefully it's
that's
that.
that's very. I must say, and well, maybe not that rare. My good mate in Bendigo, Andy Buchanan, would say that's every marathon for him. He doesn't know. You talk to him about hitting the wall, and he's just like, "Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't think that happens." And I'm like, "Okay, mate, just there's people out there who have documented this plenty of times." But yeah, that's the difference between getting it right and getting it wrong. And we hope for you in 6.5 weeks that you get it right anyway. And it's an experience that you do not have to compare to childbirth, because that is also very dangerous as a male to be doing that.
Yeah, that's why I said I haven't been through it. I've seen it looks very hard. I've heard it's hard. And I've been putting some things in place, I think, to try and avoid what I went through last time too. And we can talk about that with sort of race shoes and race kit and all those sort of things. But I think it's all coming together, hopefully nicely with 6.5 to go. But if you want,
do you want to go through some training?
Yeah, sure. I'll go through it again. I'll just go through these sessions that are sort of easy quickly, and then just go into the sessions in a bit more detail.
Yep.
So we'll go to Monday the 24th. That was a recovery run, 30 minutes, 6Ks, 5-minute pace. So that's pretty self-explanatory. That's my pace, easy distance. Tuesday was an aerobic run, so 60 minutes, so double the time. I went double the distance. I went 12 Ks and I did 5:05 pace, so a little bit slower. The Wednesday, the 26th, was the last podcast day, and that one was the Wednesday hills without the hills. So I've taken those out. Still a bit of incline in it, but not too much. We're talking probably 60, 70 meters now instead of a couple of hundred. And that was 11 Ks, 55 minutes, so 5-minute pace. Thursday's where we went to the first session. So this was the day after the podcast. So you'd suggested the night before just to take off those 1 kilometer splits, which I think was so much easier to read when I'm looking at it as well, for those sections. So this run was a 3K warm up, 6 strides, then 10 minutes at marathon effort, then 8 minutes at marathon effort, 6 minutes at half marathon effort, 4 minutes at 10K effort, then 2 minutes at 10K effort. So it actually, allowed me to really easily see, instead of trying to go, well, that first K was 440 and the second one was 420 or whatever, it just gives you an even spread. So the 10-minute marathon effort was 434 pace. The 8-minute marathon effort was 435 pace. The 6-minute half effort was 418. The 4-minute 10K effort was 409. And then the 2-minute 10K effort was 410. So that all those splits are really pretty much bang on where I think I am at the moment. So that was, a really good one. Felt really good. It was a pretty nice morning, and I think I've written down that the half might have been the toughest. So that middle 6 minutes was probably the one where I felt it the most. The 2 10Ks, I was actually feeling pretty fresh. So that was a good solid hit out and a good confidence booster. Friday.
Mentally, sorry, just on that workout, because I've said it a few times as well. Like mentally, I feel like the 4 and the 2, you're like, all right, I'm home. It's all good. I can survive this. Whereas when you hit the 6, you've got the 10 and the 8 fatigue in your legs, but the finish line's still a long way out of sight. Yeah. So I know exactly what you mean mentally, that being the hardest. But it's actually a great workout to practice discipline. So it's like you got to run that first 10 minutes like you're running the first 10 minutes of the marathon. Not it's the first 10 minutes of a 30-minute workout where you've got 30 minutes worth of work in the workout. Yeah. So it teaches people to settle. I can see what Chris Armstrong's doing there.
Very smart man. He's changed a few things up actually since that disastrous one, which and probably a bit to your point of talking slowing down. Sorry, we've just changed something in some of the runs coming up too that I'll talk about. But Friday the 28th, did a lap with Delaney Troon, who was doing that run. It was 7.4 Ks at 5:50 pace. I've got it's hard running this slow. Feels like I haven't run today, which is probably a good thing. But I did test out the Zoom flies for that run just to go, all right, how are these going to go for the next day? And that they felt really good. And from then on, I decided I'm just going to keep running in that shoe. It's carbon plated. It doesn't cause the plantar to do much work. And it can do a range of different sort of activities. So if I burn through, and this was 9 weeks out at the time, so if I sort of burn through these in the next 9 weeks, I think it's still money well spent, if it prevents me from having any flare-ups in the foot. So I've run with them for the last 2 weeks now, and it's, as I said, the foot's feeling really good. So we'll move from that until the Saturday the 1st, which is the redemption long run, as I called it. It's 27 kilometres. I went 5:08 pace, took 2 hours and 18 minutes. I went fairly easy the whole way. I ran with Lance. We just chatted. I did the first 2K solo and then picked him up. We stopped after 8Ks to have a gel and a drink. I only took 2 gels out and he didn't have one, so I did give him my second gel at 8. But I had some of that carb drink, the Fix Electrolyte one, so I could still have that at the car, and we're doing laps so we could get a drink. And then what I did do is I took your advice again, and the last 3Ks were where I really finished strong. I think the last kilometre might have been about a 4:30 to finish it off.
4:31, 4:48, 4:53.
Yeah.
You're 23, 25th down to 28. Good.
Yeah, and they were the only ones under 5-minute pace. So felt much better, and it was an easy long run, which is what you're meant to do. So that was good to do.
You've only averaged 7 seconds slower per K than the disaster the week before.
Yep.
But you've finished with those numbers that you've given you confidence, and you probably get to the end of that, hopefully going, if I had a gun to my head, I could do another 5 or 6K, no worries.
Yep. Yeah, and we really finished off quick. We picked a couple of people in the distance and went, all right, we're beating them today. So that's a bit of fun to finish it off. So that was good. The Sunday off, then Monday the 3rd. Now this is where we've also changed something up just to try and get my heart rate down while I'm not running sort of slow enough. So these 30-minute runs, I'm doing 2 minutes on at my natural pace and then 1 minute off. So natural pace being sort of from 4:45 to 5 minutes. And then I just go 1 minute walk and just do that for 30 minutes. I thought I'd hate it, but I'm actually not as much. I don't know whether it was meant to be like a punishment and I was meant to hate it, but I actually don't mind it at all. I normally do those ones without any headphones or anything. It's just 30 minutes around a bit of a loop. And it's a good little entertaining run with nothing going on really.
Well, it's active recovery. It's like the purpose of that day. Like you've banged that long run 48 hours earlier. You got a workout or an aerobic run I can see here that was coming up. We got an aerobic run going into a workout. So it's just like make it as easy as possible. I think I said on the weekly show, it's like some people that just has to be, go out for a 30-minute walk. Like just move the legs, move some blood around in your legs. And then, it's when you can hit the stuff later in the week that success and that discipline and that relaxation on that Monday kind of pays dividends.
It does. And you feel like I was feeling so fresh all week and still I'm in a recovery week this week and feel so good from the runs. And I think it is just that not running 5-minute pace every single run, taking a bit off, getting the heart rate down, because the heart rate average is probably 135, 136 when I do that 30-minute run. That's exactly where we need it to be. So it's really good.
How'd the ego take it though when you got to stop your watch and start walking? You did just say you liked picking off a few people at the end of your long run. Like a lot of people go flying past you when you got to walk for a minute.
Yeah, I don't go in major tracks when I'm doing this run. It's just around your home. There's no one much around. Early in the morning.
Good strategy. I love it.
It still plays with your head though. And I think that's probably most people have that you're just sort of like, you got to stop and walk. But in your mind, you're like, well, does that person think that I can't run any further? But you really got to let go of that. But I don't know how you
have
do
a sign on your back just being like, this is the plan. My coach set me 2 minutes on 1 minute walk. I could do it all in one hit if I had to.
I ran 30 Ks on the weekend. Even on some of those long runs, you're sort of having a chat and going past, or people pass you. You just have the chat to the guy next to you. Oh, yep, 27 Ks in. We're 27. Just let people know.
Yeah. Very good. Then, big couple of days after this with the aerobic run into the 9K progression run.
Yeah. So the next day was 12K, 57 minutes, 4:43. Self-explanatory. That's just the Tuesday one. So Wednesday, this was a really good workout. So this was the first runner, I think, under Chris, where he's actually prescribed me time rather than effort, as in paces. So Wednesday it was a 3K warm-up, 6 strides, and then 3Ks at 4:35 to 4:40 pace, straight into 3Ks at 4:30 to 4:35 pace, straight into 3Ks at 4:25 to 4:30 pace. So this was done. I just went up and down Gregory Street, which is a real elite Ballarat runners sort of course. It's probably, I'd say it's 2 kilometers long and just pretty flat, and it's just next to the lake, so you can warm up around the lake, go there, go up and down. So I did that with Lance. I know AJ Beer was up there. There'd be other real, the top echelon of Ballarat runners down there that were passing us or going past. So we're probably out of our depth there, but it was a good track to do it on. The paces were really good. I stuck to them, I think, pretty consistently. And then it was all about heart rate for Chris, so getting that data back. So I checked my watch a lot in the first rep that I did, just to make sure I was on the pace. From there, because it was only changing sort of 3 or 4 or 5 seconds, it was pretty easy to just get in the right zone and just sit there for 3 kilometers. Didn't feel like it, they all felt good. So I got through the 9Ks at around that 4:30 pace comfortably, which was good. The data that got through to Chris, he said, this is perfect. The heart rate drift gives a very good indicator of where you are marathon wise. So based on this, your current marathon effort is approximately 4:34 to 4:39 pace. We'll do this a couple more times to collect more data before the marathon. But for Saturday, I'd like you to stick to 4:34 to 4:39 for marathon pace / effort. So that was really good for me to find that, because I think without a coach, I'm just guessing. So that 3:10 that I pulled out of the sky for the, what I wanted to do, that was based on nothing. Where now at least Chris has got the data, he's setting the training. He can say, this is where you actually fitness wise fit in. And like that puts me at, I think it's 3:13 to 3:17, around that sort of mark, with 6 weeks to go to improve that 5 seconds to get it down to the original goal pace. And doing it a few more times.
And different weather too.
Yeah,
it could
different
be 5
weather.
bit higher, just because it's hot. So, you haven't really, it's not like you tape it into it. You've done 27K a couple of days before. Race environment, like just the adrenaline's different. Like it's good to have those numbers. Shoes. Yeah, 100%. I was talking on our weekly show the other week about, like, I'll do 5-minute reps at 3:17 pace, and then I jumped in a race environment and did that for 21K, and you're just like, it's just different. Like you got different adrenaline, you're a bit fresher. Like it's not 6 a.m. around Lake Wendouree or wherever, or Vic Park, wherever you're doing this. So it's good to have those numbers, but at the same time, there's a whole different level you can go to on race day. Plus, you'll be fitter in 6 weeks. Yeah,
exactly. So that was a good confidence boost too. I was happy with that number, and something really good to work with. So the next day I did 30 minutes again, 2 minutes on, 1 minute off, for 5.4 Ks, 137 heart rate. Friday was 9 kilometer conversational pace. So it was 42 minutes, 42 seconds at 4:44 pace for 9Ks, a lot of 4s. I started my carb loading as well, so doing the 1-day carb load for the Saturday long run. So every sort of 3 or 4 weeks we do one of these. Same as the last time I did the carb load, same diet, just smashing down a heap of crumpets, rice bubbles, lollies, and I did get sushi this time for lunch, and then chicken and rice for tea, and then crumpets again the next morning on Saturday. And the workout was a 4 kilometer warm up, and then 4 lots of 5K at 4:34 to 4:39 pace, with a 1 minute jog in between, and then 2 kilometer cool down at the end. So that went really well. The total distance was 30.6K, took me just under 2.5 hours. The average pace was 4:51 for the whole run. The efforts, again, these are broken down into 5 kilometer chunks now that I'm not rolling with the kilometer laps.
Yeah.
It was 4:35 for the first effort for 5Ks, 4:36 average for the second 5Ks, 4:37 for the third lot of 5K, and then 4:34 for the fourth lot of 5K. So it was a warm day. Just some of the notes I've written: warm day. It was a boring track. I did laps at the lake so that I could get my drink bottle every lap. And because it's also 6Ks around the lake, I could do the 5K, and then the car was in that 1 kilometre sort of jog recovery. So I could just peel off, grab a drink, keep going, and go into the next effort. So that worked quite well. So I was having a drink every 6K. There was a whole crowd of people too. So Saturday long run with effort, got 6 people started, and then people just decided whether they did 2, 3, or all 4 reps. So I think Lance was the last man standing, but he went all the way to the end. I had 3 gels. So in between each of the efforts, I had a gel, and then just nothing after the last one. I had a bit of a right side stitch in the 2nd and 3rd reps, but nothing bad. Just like I just noticed it, so I just wrote it down, and was feeling a bit bloated after the 3rd gel. The legs were jelly at the end of it, but really enjoyable run. It's funny. I was actually running.
Workout. This is the big one. Like, your legs should be feeling pretty beat up at the end of this one.
Yeah, good. They were. Yeah. As soon as I stopped, it was just like, oh,
very stock standard marathon workout. So, but your heart rate data was good. Like, that's good. 156, 157, 157, 160 for the last one. Like, that's super promising. Hot day. You've already put the fatigue in your legs throughout the week. Like, you're hitting that last one with 24, 25 Ks of running in your legs, and you're still not blowing out. So, yeah, very promising signs here, mate.
That's good. And it's a new heart rate. So I remember I spoke about the glue breaking on my old strap. I bought one of the Polar Verity Sense, the arm heart one. So not the Coros one, but the Polar. Yep. So that's meant to be really accurate too.
Oh, you can see it here in the data. I'm not sure if you've looked at your own Final Surge stuff, but the line just sits very, very even. There's no big jump. So it's very much spot on.
Yeah, so that was good. Lance did all 4 as well, who I run with him more than anyone else, and he got to I think 2Ks to go, and he said, just let me know when it's 1K to go, because I was like, you're going to take off? He said, yeah, I just want to have a crack. So he's even better than me, but he took off, and then the guy we'd just overtaken yells out, he goes, oh, that's a bit rough. And I was like, oh, no, that's all right. And he put a surge in to run. He goes, how far have you got to go? I said, 1 kilometre, I'm going this pace. So he goes, oh, I'll run with you. So he did the last K with me. So I literally had someone the whole way. His name was Ron, and he listens to the Inside Running podcast, because he started talking about Jess Stenson interview that must have been maybe that day or a couple of days before.
Yeah, that was Saturday morning. Yep.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, well, you actually listen to the Road to Ballarat. I'm on that. And
I'm your guy.
Yeah, he's like, oh, I have heard that. So I'm pretty sure his name was Ron. So if he does listen, that's for him. But he helped me out that last K, and then we did the cool down. But
I love that you didn't kick it down though. Like, say that shit for race day. Like, you don't need to be kicking down the last K of 4x5K.
Yeah, and because I was sitting,
Chris O would have ripped you to shreds too, I feel.
Like, I don't know who he would, but he should.
Yeah,
he should have ripped me to shreds if I had done it, and he can feel free to at times. I think he's obviously a very nice guy, but there's times I do stuff and I look at it and go, oh, yeah, that's not right. So he probably should get into me a bit more.
Yeah, no, that's good. And you pulled up right after that, because that's the next
thing.
It's
like, well.
Yeah, looking at how well you pull up the next day, and even just how much your heart rate dropped when you had the 1K off in between. Like, that was another good step there. Like, it's just great data all around. And if it didn't wreck you for 3 days, you're doing things right.
I'm getting my Sunday, I was feeling fine. And normally I have been really sore in the foot. So that's where I was like, I just felt so fresh going into this week. And I messaged Chris, I said, I feel so fresh on Monday when I'm doing the run. And this is a recovery week. I'm going to be like 200% next week. So I think I've got one session tomorrow, is the only session of this week. So he said, just see how you pull up after that. But yeah, so far so good, which is really exciting.
Hey, my one question, I've got about 6 questions to ask you here, but we've got our next guest waiting, and I don't want to leave him waiting for too long. But is your shoes, kit, gels, all that stuff organized? Because a lot of listeners who are doing, and most of the listeners who listen to this are signed up for something at Ballarat themselves. This is the time to get that stuff organized. Like, how are you looking? Is that what you used on that 4x5K? Get it sorted now, people, because you don't want to be doing it with 2 weeks to go and then not testing stuff before it's race day or something happens with the shipping. Like, get in there and get it sorted. Are you sorted?
I think I'm probably 80% sorted. I've got, so for next episode, Ryan will be on, who's from the uni and he works in the exercise science area. I've got a few pairs of shoes from Running Warehouse to test, and they're really cool shoes. And then I've also got a pair of my own, and then another pair that I've sourced, which we're going to do efficiency testing in them and see which one is best for me for race day.
Oh, mate, this is unbelievable that you're doing this. This is a great opportunity.
Feel free to come down. We're going to do it on the 20th, I think. Running Warehouse have been unreal. So I've been dealing with them. They've had, I don't know whether it's still going. It might have finished today, but they had 25% off like store wide. So I loaded up on more fixed gels as well while it was 25% off. So they're coming Friday. I think they arrive. And I drove down to their store in Melbourne to pick up these shoes. So I've got the ones I'm going to test. I've got New Balance Fuel Cell SC Elite V4s, the London version. So like a red, they're probably the best looking ones I've got. On Cloud Boom Strikes to test.
Yep.
I don't know how to say this name properly, which is embarrassing. Saucony Endorphin Elite. Saucony. Yeah, I knew I'd stuff it up. Endorphin Elite 2s. They look unreal and they're light as a feather. So those three are literally sitting in a box in my cupboard. They're going to do 1K around a track as their first test. And then I've got a pair of Alpha 3s that I already had, but they're in the box as well. So there's 4 pairs just sitting there. And then I've sourced a pair of shoes that have done 73 kilometers. They've only gone around the Singapore Marathon. So I've got some Alpha Fly 1s also sitting in the cupboard.
You're going to get some great data out of this. And there's going to be a lot of the Running Warehouse have hooked you up for free with all these shoes, or most of them.
They've done their bit to get this to do the testing.
I'm jealous myself. So you're going to get a number. Like this is literally you're going to do some stuff on the treadmill and they're going to say, this is 2%, this is 5%, this is 3.2%, this is 4%, and your decision's made up for you.
Yeah, we're going to go around Lamberis. So we're going to go do it around a track and do, so I'll do a warm up and then I'll stick to marathon paces. And then it's literally sort of spelled out how I'll do it and the testing that we'll do after each kilometer, and then have full rest at the end of it and then go again. So it'll be around a running track.
Would they put like a mask on you or something at the end to get
I'm not 100% sure.
We will talk.
Like I was dealing with Running Warehouse, talking to them, and then I was like, all right, I'm out of my depth. Brian, can you explain what we're doing? And he's listed it like an academic would. Yeah. So we'll film it. We got a really good videographer coming to film it as well. And then I'll report back in the next podcast. So we'll do it on the 20th, and I think we'll be on again on the 26th to record. So we're recording this on the 12th. So then I'll hopefully have my mind made up and I can go, bang, these are the shoes I want. Let's get into it. And then I can probably do a practice run in those as well. In terms of so I've got the fixed nutrition. The hydration was one thing I'm struggling with. So I've sourced a belt as well. So one of the nerd belts that's coming Friday. So I'll be able to try that I've got a 20K run this Saturday, but I'll give that a go and just apparently doesn't bounce at all, just sits there perfectly. So we'll give that a go. I'll be able to report back on that. There's I've been told not to wear a hat. I always wear a hat when I've been running, and I got told don't do that because you'll overheat. So I'll probably skip the hat, and I reckon that was then the actual shorts and singlet that I'll have to check out. The Ballarat race, like the official, the one running kit has arrived. So it was like on pre-order. It arrived, and Adam sent me a photo yesterday of him in it. So I'll put that up on my Strava tomorrow, which will be the 13th. So people probably listen to this after that, but go back. I'll put a picture of Adam up in the running kit that is available now. I don't know whether I'll run in that. I may well run in that. There's Run to PB. I know I have a singlet, or whether I run in a uni singlet, or whether I just have all three going and repping everyone. But that's probably the only choice I've got to make now.
Yeah, and you got some big workouts, some big hay to throw in the barn where you can practice all this stuff.
Yeah.
But
But
listeners, you can't
exciting.
do what Jason's doing, obviously. Well, some people may be able to get their efficiency scores, but I'd just be encouraging people to do their main workouts in the shoes they think they're going to race in, and just write down some tips or some things that worked well for you, maybe didn't work well for you, how confident you are wearing those shoes on race day. Get that sorted now, not in the 2 weeks leading in.
There is
Jason,
treadmills too at that running warehouse, so you can go and test them there. Like actually check it while you're in the store. So yeah, good opportunity to go do that.
Yeah, just not your efficiency, but still, you'd
Nah.
still get a good feel for it. If you're looking for a brilliant running experience this year, then the Running Warehouse Ballarat Marathon is the event for you. Whether you're a 2-hour 20 marathoner or a 6-hour runner, we invite you to come and try our flat and fast course. There's just 98 metres of elevation for the full marathon and 49 metres of elevation for the half marathon. Our long races start and finish out the front of the historic Ballarat Town Hall, situated on the best preserved Gold Rush era streetscape in the world. In only our second year, we're aiming for the Ballarat Marathon to be one of the most fun and friendliest regional running festivals in the world. We're also striving to be one of the most professional events on the calendar. Each of our courses has been certified to the World Athletic Standards, meaning you can run a Boston or New York qualifying time in Ballarat. This year, the Running Warehouse Ballarat Marathon is also a qualifying event for the 2026 World Marathon Major Age Group Championships. And we have a team of 50 pacers who will help you achieve your goal time. On top of all that, we're kicking off a new partnership with Athletics Australia, which means our elite mile races have become the Australian Road Mile Championships. Thousands of people have already signed up for the event. If you're not one of them, make sure you are today. Head to ballaratmarathon.com.au. The Ballarat Marathon is proudly supported by Running Warehouse Australia, Federation University, the City of Ballarat, the Courier, Ballarat City Subaru, One Running and Fixed Nutrition. Let's get to our guest though, Jace. I'll add him in now. I think I've got him. Steve McKenna, based over in Adelaide. You're one of the One Running Pace members. Well, you're the big dog, I'm calling it. You're in charge of the 220 group, I think. Have I got you there on the line?
Yes, you do. Yeah.
Welcome to the Inside Running podcast and the road to Ballarat.
Thank you. Yeah, I've been listening in. I usually don't let myself listen to your podcast because I'll risk quitting triathlon too quickly. But now that this year the world champs is in Nice and Marbella, which is basically just up and down a mountain, I learnt to ride at a late age, so they're not my courses, and I've got this opportunity mid-career to spend 6 months in the sport that I actually love the most and see what I can do in that short period of time. And running a few marathons for PBs before I'm too old is the key, because if I go back to triathlon in maybe August or July, it's my last chance. So yeah, I've been listening to the podcast again, but I will be honest, I banned myself. I love it. But I was very close to, because I'm very passionate about running, and triathlon makes a living for me, and I love triathlon a lot. But I've always been, there's this I talked to Jason today actually. There's this want for a simpler life where you just have running shoes on whilst you travel, and just you just head out the door, and you just save 15 hours a week in training time. And yeah, very envious, but I'm very good at swim biking, and probably not I raced Brett Robinson when I first started, but at national level when we were young, I reckon I beat him in that first year. Don't quote me, but I was seventh.
I won't claim it.
Look it up, Canberra 2004 probably. That was 7th or 8th, and but yeah, he rocked up to nationals eventually with a coach and was doing all these fancy drills with nice tracksuits and all sorts. And I was there in my old sneakers thinking, shit, he's stepped it up. And that was the only nationals I actually did any good anyway. I was an absolute head case. I would be going into nationals with great times, ranked to do well. And then I was just nervous 2 weeks before the race instead of one day. So I just, I was that kid that slept in his sneakers. Everything was running, and would win the state champs in SA. And then, the closest I got was a 5th at 3K at the nationals. And I was coming 3rd in the steeplechase. If you look up steeplechase stack, that was my last junior run. I was done after I stacked it. in front of a massive crowd, and that was it for me. That'll give you some context around how I was angry at running for about 4 years, and then found triathlon through rehab from a broken leg.
Yeah. So just you've done a good job of summarizing it then. So the opportunity kind of presents itself to focus on running for a bit, given the world champs are overseas. How then does the relationship come about with Ballarat Marathon and signing up or getting asked to do this 220 group? Because I remember they sent me an email asking if I'd be willing to do the 230 group, and they're like, "We've got Steve McKenna locked in for the 220 group." And I must admit, I don't know anything about triathlon other than Brad Carterfelt. He's like the god of like triathlon legends in my head, and that's the only kind of name I can kind of relate to. And was it Emma Snowsill back in the day? I was like, who's Steve McKenna? And I'm like, why is this guy ditching me? Why am I getting pushed to the 230 group for this guy? But like, how did this relationship come about?
Well, actually, for Nerd Belts, Jason's just mentioned it. It's a brand. Well, it's my own brand. Created it selfishly for myself, just because none of the belts were doing any good for me. I tried every belt on the market, and ended up having to make my own so it wouldn't bounce around whilst I raced. I was carrying a Powerade bottle down my tri-suit initially, and once I started drinking more, doubled intake on the bike, doubled intake on the run, and I just carried water with me at all times. I started negative splitting some runs and doing 109s off the bike in the half marathon off of the 90k ride and the 2k swim, and it was just a game changer for me. So then to get something that didn't annoy me made, I just had 100 requests in my inbox after that race win in the Nerd Belt, and that's how it all started. We weren't ready to go to marathon because last year we were brand new, and we were not selling to runners very much. But this year we've just blown up, and if I run down at Henley, which is a local beach, I'll see like 5 or 6 Nerd Belts on my long run, and runners have taken it up now. They've I think there's a running boom, so you're going to creep in a bit, but mostly it's just the hydration is so important, and people are starting to pick up on that, taking as much fuel and hydration and not stopping at taps. But we were just talking about how I was going to maybe race as well. I said I'll do the expo, and then he was looking for sponsorship of the event as well, potentially. Simon, this is from the Ballarat team. And I said, I might also race it. And it was just a throwaway comment. And he said, what, just out of interest, what time would you like, what would you be aiming for? I said, I'd go, I don't know if this is like January. So I was like, it would be as far under 220 as I could go. And then as soon as I've done that, I'll head back to triathlon full time. So that's the goal. But basically, Simon said, why don't you do the 220 pacing group? Because I've seen some of your times in the triathlons. So take away the swim and the bike. What could you do? And I said, I don't know. I just, lots of my training is around 3:17 pace off the bike, which is a 109. In summer you add about 5 seconds, and then lately it's just lined up perfectly that we do a lot of race specific training. So that means, race pace, race power on the bike. And we just try and make it easy. So I've just done years at these paces. So dialing into that pace is very easy for me. But yeah, you try to make me go any quicker, and we'll see in a marathon, and it will quickly get hard. But I just know my zones very well. We work with heart rate a lot and lactate. I know how much I'll be burning thanks to the lactate numbers and all that, and the heart rate data is always solid. So yeah, we've just, I say we because I've worked with coaches my whole life, and we just know where I'm at. And so I talked to Simon about this, and he said, come and do this, and it will be, I think he said something like, the alluring thing for me was like, I probably won't be ready for the best time I could do in my first one in April. So like I want to go till July doing a few marathons, give myself the best chance to make a few mistakes and whatnot. So I want to, he just said, like, worst comes to worst, you just do 30K for us. That's all we feel that you're obliged to do. and you're well set up for your next one if it's too early anyway. So when he said April 27th, I was planning on something like Gold Coast. So I had heaps of time up my sleeve, hadn't started training, had 12 weeks off. And I just had to get cracking. So it was good. I'd never run over 100K in a week in my life. And now I have done that, I think, like 8 weeks in a row or 10 weeks in a row, whatever it is, since January. So, yeah, it's funny. I haven't run over 100K, but close to it most weeks. And we do 30 hours of training, but it's all bike and swim. And with the run being my strength, we've always avoided focusing on it. And this has been really fun. And also I'm helping out at home a lot more, like doing the dishes, picking up the girls every day. Running has helped my marriage as well.
Yeah. I hope my wife listens to that, because I'm always saying it's a time efficient sport, running. It's not as bad as some of these other sports I could be doing. So like best case scenario for you is you pace at sub 220 pace the whole way and then finish it off and become a sub 220 marathoner. And worst case, you just sit at that 317, 318 pace until 30K and get a great workout out of it and go tick off sub 220 later on in the year.
Yeah, I think Simon said, you need to make it to halfway. And I said, 100%, I'll put my house on that. That's fine. And then he said, you're obliged to make it to 30. And I said, I'll put my house on that as well. But I said to Jason today, laughing, I said, if that doesn't happen, then, like the breakup of my marriage will actually be because of running, but not triathlon. So, but 42K, I said, this is what I said at the time to him, because I had to write notes down on what I'm meant to and meant to not say on the podcast in terms of the pacing stuff.
Okay.
And I said, I'm 80% sure I'll do the whole thing, and just sit at, that 319 pace for an even split. And yeah, having run with the flag now, I'm not sure I'll put my house on.
No, you don't run with the flag. You don't run with the flag pace in the 220 group, surely.
I hope. Well, I'd prefer not to. But
no. I'll pace Gold Coast and Sydney, and no one's running with flags pacing that fast.
Okay, yeah.
You'll get it. Yeah.
He's done a very good job on the flag. I did a session 2 times 8K. No, 2 times 8K.
Flag. Surely not.
Oh, with the flag, hell yeah. It was.
Let Simon know the flag is not happening for the 220.
So
have you seen the flags?
I had 2 dogs the other morning doing 2 times 8K at 319 pace. And then one of the owners of the dog said, he just yelled at me because he was getting angry at me, not the dog. He said, he's like scared of your orange thing on your back. So, but Simon's done a really good job on it, to be honest. They've also sent me a smaller vest. So I did that at 319 pace and it felt all right. It was a very hot morning, but I still got through it okay. And I think the only problem was if I get a tighter vest, it'll be doable. But it gets speed wobbles over 330 pace. Under 330 pace. So I think that could have been the fact that I could have it tighter. But yeah, it's going to be extremely difficult if I wear a pacing flag. But I do get that it would be a lot better for the race if the pacer did wear the flag and there was, it was very easily identified. So he did, he said, maybe let's practice trying to rip it off at halfway if it's getting tough, because there's going to be a huge group. It'll be the 110 half marathoners are going to be with us. So there's going to be a massive group of us. I think there's like 10 people wanting to do 220 as well.
Do you mean like the race to identify the pacemaker as in, like, because it'd be pretty kind of, everyone will know everyone in that sub 220 group and they're going to know who the pacer is without after, because that is part of the thing that the pacers will be identified on the day with a flag. But I feel like that group of 15, 20 people, they're like, yeah, we know this pace, you're the pacer. Like, I don't think they're going to.
Apparently I'm at the elite briefing as well, and I'm wearing a pink singlet on the day, which has pacer on it. So, if you could convince them to make sure I get the job done and just sit there at the front and block the wind.
I'd feel much more confident if you didn't have a flag. And also for the, like, could it get windy, Jace? It got a bit windy around.
So that's the one.
That could be hard with a flag in the back.
Yeah. Reaching out to Steve today, that was one of the questions. Like, what's the weather going to be like? I was like, it will be windy at some point. That like,
Oh,
and
really?
maybe not super windy, but there's going to be wind from some direction. Like, it's very unlikely there's going to be a still day. Like, we may get lucky, but
Okay.
I know. Talking to Simon as well. I spoke to him probably an hour and a half on the phone. Never met him before. Great chat and really diligent in all this stuff. Like, I know all the paces are like they're going through training, like a training course that they have to do. Yeah, 4-week course. They're going through that. He studies all the time. So that's what, when he says like he knows you can do this, like he's a real data guy, real smart guy. So he'll know that you can do it. And he's designed these flags with the sports bra. I saw when you put up your Instagram post, Steve, that you did get a like Mr. Sports Bra or something.
Yeah.
So I think like there's a novelty factor or like I reckon there's some sort of record, like a mass participation time. Like no one would have done a 2:20. So if you did do it with the flag, that'd be like a record.
Yeah, potentially with the flag, it was some sort of record. But yeah, I mean, it would be weird for Brady sitting there at 30K, hearing this guy grunting, trying to get every last K out because of the flag.
Mate, it's weird for Brady because I've been trying to run for 10 years to break 2:20 and only done it twice, running like 150 Ks a week. And now I'm hearing you're going to do it with a flag on your back. I'm just like, this is making me look really bad here, Steve.
No,
your first ever running race since you were 7 against Brett Robinson.
So I mean, the idea of the flag is like he's done a very good job on these flags. I will be honest.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's move on from the flags.
Yeah.
Let's move on from the flags because we spend a lot of time on a minor detail. But the flags do you know what the pace groups are?
I do. I've got notes here.
Down there, Jace?
Because I did write it
for our listeners, because there'll be a lot of people wondering what these groups are. So they'll be definitely identified by a flag.
Yeah, it is all on the website. And they're really, the way that Simon structures it as well, it's like even splits. Like no one's banking time. You are plus or minus 30 seconds is the maximum through halfway. And you've got to be obviously under, but like within 30 seconds at the end as well. And it's all on the website, but there's a 2:20 pacer, which we're talking to. Then there's the 2:30. Let me just have a look. 2:30 pacer every 10 minutes then from 2:30 up or 2:20 up till 4 hours. After 4 hours, it goes every 20 minutes. So 4 hours, 20, 4:40 to 5 hours. Then it's 5.5 and there'll be 6. And then for the half, it's like there's a 70, a 75, an 80, an 85, and 90, and 95, all the way through to 2 hours. And then it goes up by 10 minutes. So there's a lot for the 3 hours as well, because it's ridiculous. And you guys are talking clearly ridiculous numbers for me, but the amount of people going sub 3 hours, I think we said it last week, is like 25% of the field so the target time is under 3 hours. So they're actually going to have corrals this year, which they didn't have last year. So there'll be like A, B, and then C and D will be 3 hours. So there'll be 4. So each pace group will have 2 paces. There'll be 4 for the 3 hours. So there'll be a group that goes out in the C corral, and then like whatever the distance is back 30 seconds, when the next group goes, it'll be 3 hour pace as well. So they'll be going the same pace, just sort of 30 seconds up the road, just because of the sheer number of people that are going for that time. So they've got 2 paces for all of those times, and then 4 for the 3 hours. And then if you put in the half marathon in there as well, there's obviously going to be double ups through there as well. So heaps of paces. They're all on really strict timelines of where they've got to hit. They've got to even split it. It's a fairly flat course, so we're not tackling any big uphills or downhills, so it should be something they can do. And yeah, everyone's he's gone through everyone's stats, so that they're going to make that as well. And
which is running is sponsoring it, so they'll be in the One Running singlet, which listeners will know Seth O'Donnell's sponsor. If you've seen any of Seth's stuff, he's in the One Running kit, so it'll be like a Ballarat special makeup though, won't it, Jace?
Yeah, there's some cool designs. So there's I think they've got the town hall. That's the photo I'm going to post tomorrow on Strava. Is that kit, the one running stuff for the Ballarat Marathon, and that it looks really cool. Seth O'Donnell, check out his Instagram. You said it on the main show, but he's the
Did
best.
you spend some time on it after that?
I'd already been on it. I went did the run pre, was the only race I did not
yeah.
around the lake, and I saw him and thought, who is this guy? Because I didn't know him at that time. Who is this guy 30 meters off the front in the first K? In a 10K race, like he's going to blow up, and he didn't. He held on. Like I think he finished third, but from there I was like following him. He's Instagram is that it's unreal, and he's just getting better and better. So I can't wait till he goes to some longer distance. I reckon it'll be good too.
Yeah, and Steve, you guys will all be at the bib collection. Like there'll be an opportunity to speak to some of the pacemakers out at the bib collection, and also on race week, I think I read there's going to be like a panel, like a Zoom opportunity for maybe some people to listen to a panel discussion, like a Q&A with the pacemakers as well.
Yeah, I reckon there is. Yep. They take, like Simon's done a good job. He's taking the pacing stuff really serious, and I think he's because it's good marketing for Ballarat Marathon to be known as a very fast course if you've got a pacer that did 220 and 230. With a flag, that's why he's pushing for it, because it will be a better story for Ballarat Marathon. And the benefits that come to nerd belts is that all the pacers are gifted a nerd belt. So I jumped at the opportunity, obviously, to do a marathon a bit earlier, and I've had to ramp up the running. There'll be lots of stuff on race week, and the one running pacing group is going to be huge. I think there's like 50 people. Yeah. So it's a serious thing for Ballarat Marathon. They're just doing a really good job across the board with marketing. I think everyone's it's obviously sold out, and this show, like I'm getting sent this show constantly because of the
excellent.
Because of the comments about trying to find a solution on long runs or hot runs. Everyone's sending it to me saying, send one to Jason. And I'm like, well, I'll try to get it.
This guy sucks. Yeah.
Finally got
saying that they're actually, the other thing that Simon said to me was they've got stricter conditions than Chicago, than London for all their pacing groups. And they had 93% success rate last year. Like he's real data driven. And these people that he picks and puts through this course, like, will run that time. So, apart, maybe not Steve, but he'll get to 30K.
Appreciated. 30K pacer at that pace is doing good things. It's pretty rare to find something, unless you bring one of your mates along and you offer them a couple $100. That's
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's a huge pay cut doing a pacing job instead of continuing in my triathlon racing. This is something that I'm trying to help others. So, if there's I'm going to be as helpful as I possibly can on the day. If there's any bit of wind, I'll request no flag so that I can get it done. And if there's, if it's a really still day, then I'll do it for sure as long as I can with the flag. And then I'll go to the absolute well to get everyone, as much as they can at a 220 paced marathon, because I know not having to think and also having the wind blocked is going to be pretty beneficial. And for me, it's just a nice introduction to running before I do a few more marathons this year. And I'm really enjoying it. Like I said, I had to stop listening to the podcast in case I quit triathlon. And, it's something that I'm more okay with at the moment, with how happy I've been, just running and being, around more, not traveling constantly with races. So it's been nice. I like the and it's where it all started for me. Like this was my life, running. So and I training 30 hours a week was getting pretty old. So this is a really nice mid-career crisis for me. I still get to go back to where it all started for me and enjoy and to start with, help instead of doing this 30-hour-a-week selfish pursuit in making my living or trying to achieve some goals, whereas there's nothing, no goal here besides getting you guys to 30K. That's the only thing. And there's a little benefit to Nerd Belts, the business that I've got with the paces. I want some good runners using the belts because they'll realize they're pretty good. So that's kind of the big benefit to me. And I think it would be a lot of fun, and anything I can do like in the lead up or on the day is just going to be good. And then hopefully I can do another race and do that one for me. And this is also just for me as well. The whole journey has been really enjoyable. Like when I listen to your marathon preps, it makes me so jealous. And now I'm finally doing one. Like all these sessions I've heard you talk about, I'm getting to do them now and just like frothing the whole time. Because if you tell me to go for a 5-hour ride right now, I don't know. Well, I won't do it, but I'll it doesn't spark any enjoyment right now. It's just been a decade of triathlon at the highest level I can do, and now I'm doing this as not someone trying to break a record or win a race. I'm not. If I go to do Gold Coast or something, I hope to just run my own pace. There's no nerves or anything because I'm just I know what I'm capable of. I'll just do that. Whereas
the level of responsibility comes with the pacing.
What's that? Sorry?
I was just saying there's a level of responsibility with the pacing. Like you feel like you got other people's races kind of holding in your hands a bit.
Yeah, and that's probably why I'm taking the training very seriously. I'm still doing a lot of swim bike, but I'm trying my hardest to get to 150 Ks every week. So, that's Simon saying like, let's do this, and me going on this one phone call. He's like, he's good to chat to, isn't he, Jason? I was stuck on the phone for ages too because it was just a good chat, and we just had a good time. And then I'm like, what have I just said yes to? So So then I was like, shit, I better start training. So I went from 100 right up to 140 within 4 weeks, and then got sick for 3 weeks with different viruses from childcare. And then I've just gone 150 for a few weeks in a row. And yeah, it's purely because I'm like, right, you've got to get this fit in this amount of time. And I don't doubt, if there's an obligation to get 30K, I could do that with the flag for sure. But if there's any bit of wind, I'll be stoked because I'll go quicker without the flag.
Yeah. Steve can clearly talk. Simon Wallnizer is his name. I was on the phone for him for 90 minutes. First time I met him, and like great chat as well. And then Ryan, that's going to be on the next episode, can also talk. I messaged Adam McNichol today and I said, if those three guys were on a podcast, they do 24 hours. And they'd all just talk, and it'd be unreal listening because they're all great. They're all like really, like, I think experts in the field and just know their stuff. Like I'll ask them questions. I'm looking at a watch as well as part of the race kit, looking at the Coros. So I'm like talking to these guys, and you just get so much back. It's like, oh, this is awesome. I don't have to Google anything. I've just got these guys.
Screwed up yet? I usually I took myself off the triathlon podcasts I was on because I was always saying controversial stuff. I have word vomit and I can't stop it. And like before I logged in on my phone and my name was Big Bulls, and now I've logged in on my laptop and it's Steve. I'm like, thank God. Like these guys probably saw Big Bulls for like 20 minutes while I waited in the waiting room.
Lucky there's no visuals, mate. It's audio only going out to our listeners, but you just told them all anyway. Hey, that was good. Yeah. Good luck with the prep then. Looking forward to being behind you for a minimum of 30 Ks in 6.5 weeks' time. Jace, you need to stay injury-free as well between now and next time we talk to you.
Yep.
Hopefully next time the weather's a bit cooler and we can start really dialing in. You're going to have some big workouts in between now and next week, I'm sure. I will open up your final surge. I'll see if Chriso's
can have a look. Yes,
I've closed that tab. But have you got a marathon specific one there off the top of your head?
So from next week's on recovery week, there is a tab. I can't see it now, but it does say at the very top says sessions to become more marathon specific. So I hope these are. I am doing that 5x1K around the track to test shoes, and I've got another 9K progression run in there. I've got aerobic runs with 5x1 minute pickups in it. So like a 10K run, the start of the 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th, 8th K, stride out for a minute. And then a 34K long run as well. There's a bit going on, which is really, I'm looking forward to that. I love a session just to break things up a bit. But yeah, that just quickly before we wrap up, there's two other things because I did talk to Adam as well today. He said there's 2,850 signed up for the full now, so the half's done, but there still
And
are
waiting
some
list, isn't it?
and waiting
Is
list
done as well
done.
for the half. Don't even
Get
think
it.
about the half if you're listening.
Don't do it. Get into
you're
the
doing
marathon.
That's it.
And the other thing is I talked to our actual uni residencies. So we've got like obviously students can stay on campus. We're having a meeting. I was like, are we full like in these accommodations? And we're not. So I've got a link. I don't know where I'll be able to put it, but whether it can be in the show notes or something to accommodation you can actually book to stay at Fed Uni in a like as a 1 bedroom, as a 2, like if 2 people are coming, or you can get a whole dorm. Like there's 10 people who come and stay in a dorm as well. So
good thinking. They will get booked after you've announced that. That's for sure. People
and I'm taking credit.
Can they sleep on my couch and stuff? And I'm just like, nah, I need a bit of space before I race.
Yeah, I'm taking credit for that one too. So when they do the financials at the end of the year, I want to just marketing Jason. Yeah. He thought of that.
Straight to my wage, please. Yeah. Steve, what's your big workout for the week? You got a big one planned?
I already did. So I actually listened to Jess speak. I've been training with Team Tempo a little bit here and there when it's worked out with childcare drop-offs. But when Jess went off to Tokyo, her session sort of flipped to a Friday, and it's hard to change drop-off with Lauren. So yeah, I just copied hers. I heard her speak about it on the podcast, and I did my warm-up not knowing what I was going to do the other day, and did 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and just brought it down from 3:30. 3:20, 3:15, 3:10, and then 3. So that was it. That was my workout. Other than that, I've been trying to dial into that this marathon pace a fair bit, and with the heat, adding 5 seconds every now and then to it, or lots of workouts. I think my favorite for this whole build was been doing like 15 or 20 minutes at marathon pace, and then 4 times 1K, 4 times 500 meters, and then 15 or 20 minutes again at marathon pace to try and do it fatigued. And one morning I did that with the flag on, and that's where I think 100% of the people made a weird face, and I'd say 50% of the people actually said something.
Tag on behind you. Right.
No shame.
It's been a pleasure, fellas. Thanks for giving us some time on your Wednesday evening. I know the listeners are going to enjoy that. And yeah, listeners, keep an eye for Steve on race day out there. Jason's still going well, so start thinking about getting your tracker organised and putting those 2 names in there. First 2 in the list. Thanks, boys.
Yeah. No worries. Thank you. Next 4 days down to the Formula Ones now. Hopefully Oscar can do a good job.
Enjoy that. That's not work related, is it?
No, it's all pleasure.
Just pleasure. Lewis Hamilton, the new Lululemon ambassador.
Is he? Oh, did you get Croaks some shorts? That was the last episode I did. No, sorry, I didn't. Lululemon. Lululemon. Croaks was all about some shorts, so I hope you can sort him out. He wanted whatever the main ones are.
Look after him. All right, boys, I'm ending that conversation now. Ballarat's world-class road running festival returns bigger and better across the weekend of 26th and 27th of April. You can still get entries for the full marathon, 10K, 5K or mile races. Registrations are coming in from all over Australia, so don't delay. Sign up today, ballaratmarathon.com.au.